Hi, my name is Maria Cava, and I am the Youth Leadership and Advocacy Manager here at the Children's Defense Fund New York. I would like to officially welcome you to our Children's Defense Fund New York 2022 Week of Action. Since 2019, the Children's Defense Fund New York has worked with our Beat the Odds scholars to train and equip them with the necessary skills to mobilize to Albany and lobby directly with their elected officials. We train our scholars on issues around education, health, youth justice, and the intersection of health and immigration. As we enter the third year of this pandemic, we have shifted our focus this year to leveraging our technologies to advocate for a more just New York State. And we have created a campaign to engage not only our Beat the Odds scholars here locally, but all New York State youth while they are on their spring break. We know our young people care deeply about their communities. And this week of action, we hope youth across New York City and New York State take action to fight for a New York we can all be proud of. Like in years past, the issue we have chosen to focus on stem from the issues our young people have identified as some of the most pressing in their communities. In this video, you will hear from our policy team on issues around youth justice, the intersection of health and environmental justice, as well as the intersection of education and mental health. Our health policy team will address how New York's children and youth deserve to live in a healthy, lead-free, and climate-ready homes. Our Youth Justice and Child Welfare Policy team will discuss how strengthening our youth justice laws and expanding their scope to include college-age youth is an essential component of New York's commitment to racial equity and community health. And lastly, as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to take a toll on the mental health of New York's children and youth, especially our most marginalized youth and children, our education policy team will discuss the urgency to expand mental health supports for students in every school in New York. We are calling on our youth and their communities to take action during their spring break to make our post-budget vision for our communities a reality by taking action using the links below in our Action Center. So right underneath this video, check out the Action Center, click on those links to communicate directly with your elected officials around these issues. Our communities are watching and they're counting on your support. Thank you.
My name is Julia Davis, and I'm the Director of Youth Justice and Child Welfare at the Children's Defense Fund New York. I'm really excited to talk about the Youth Justice and Opportunities Act, which is a crucial bill to help us break down barriers for a stronger and healthier New York. So since Raise the Age was passed in 2017, the result of that is most 16 and 17-year-olds who are arrested end up in family court, but far too many young people under the age of 26 still face harsh prison sentences and really the devastating consequences of a criminal conviction here in New York State. This is a community health and a racial justice issue. The barriers that are created by criminal conviction undermine young people's future and really destabilize our communities. They limit young people's access to education, to jobs, they reduce lifetime earnings, and they create housing instability and a higher likelihood of rearrest. And given the enormous racial disparities we see throughout our criminal legal system, the Youth Justice and Opportunities Act is really a crucial part of a strategy that we need to adopt around racial justice in New York State. The Youth Justice and Opportunities Act will do a number of things, but to me, some of the most important are that they would create a new young adult status to protect young people all the way through age 25. And it would also permit judges to waive fees and surcharges for all young people through age 25. The Youth Justice and Opportunities Act is about strengthening our youth justice laws and expanding their scope to include emerging adults, young people through age 25. And we really believe it's an essential component of our commitment to racial equity and community health in New York. I hope you'll join us and the campaign to support the Youth Justice and Opportunities Act this year. Thank you.
Hi all, my name is Ben. I work on health and economic mobility issues at the Children's Defense Fund. That includes issues related to healthy housing, which you may know today includes issues around climate change. It's great to be working virtually in this space with you, and I'm also excited to make a difference for New Yorkers on this front. So first, I'll share with you a little bit about some of the recent successes in New York. Just a few weeks ago, the New York legislature passed the 2022 Environmental Bond Act. That bill will fund $4.2 billion worth of projects to combat climate change. Those projects will include efforts to electrify and weatherize buildings and homes to reduce greenhouse emissions. This work is very much needed if we're going to become a carbon neutral state in the future. Second, I want to share with you a little bit about what it means to have a healthy home and where climate change needs intersect with healthy home needs. When we think about healthy homes, we're essentially talking about making sure our homes won't make us sick. And in fact, look for ways that our homes can make us healthier. Now you might be thinking, wait, my home can make me sick? Yes, things that make us sick in our homes include water leaks that create mold and make it hard to breathe, poor construction or structures that are wearing down and are letting in pests like roaches, mice, rats. These pests also create conditions that make it hard to breathe and can also spread disease. And if your home is too hot in the summer or too cold in the winter, they can make it hard for our bodies to function well, creating stressful conditions that impact our health. And then, of course, we also think about lead poisoning and lead exposure. Old windows, door frames, cracking and peeling paint in homes built before 1978 all come with the risk of creating lead exposure. So to review, when we think about healthy homes, we're often thinking about things like, one, is my home leaky? Is it letting in water or cold air or hot air from outside? Is it too cold or hot during different times of the year? Am I not able to heat it up in the winter or cool it down in the summer? And are there pests like mice or roaches coming in? And finally, is there lead? So we've been talking now a little bit about what it means to have a healthy home. And so some of you might be thinking, where does climate change fit into all of this? Well, the answer is in two ways. First, how our home operates. That is, how much energy it uses can impact the broader environment. And if our homes are leaky and are letting in pests from outside or get too hot or too cold because it's not well built or well maintained, then this also means it probably takes more energy to heat or cool. So not only is the home making us sick, but it's also making the environment sick. The other way that climate change and healthy home issues are aligned is that some of the things we do to make our homes more energy efficient also make it easier to keep our homes healthy. Two things that the Environmental Bond Act does is fund weatherization and electrification in the communities that need the most help. Weatherization is about making sure homes have a good seal, that our windows aren't leaky, that there aren't holes and other things letting cold air in during the winter. And electrification, of course, helps when it comes to maintaining a safe and healthy temperature indoors. So all of this sounds great, right? We passed the Environmental Bond Act. It's going to help weatherize and electrify our homes. So this in turn will make our homes healthier. So what's the problem? Well, remember that one of the major things we care about is lead. Not all weatherization and electrification activities will result in the home being protected from lead hazards. In fact, in most cases, lead-painted elements in the home will remain behind once these activities are completed. And what we've heard from our neighbors, friends, and families about this work is, why are you coming into my home and doing all of these things if you're just going to leave behind the lead that will keep making me and my family sick? So please take the lead out and protect us while you're here doing this work. And so that is what we want to ask from the governor and the legislature. When we implement the Environmental Bond Act, please include lead poisoning prevention. That's it. It's that simple. We need to do this for the 12% of children born in New York every year who are likely to suffer from childhood lead exposure. It's so critical that we do this now because we have more children who are identified with elevated blood lead levels than any other state in the US. And there are communities across the state and in neighborhoods in New York City where the lead exposure rates are 5 to 6 times higher than Flint, Michigan at the peak of its water crisis. So the problem is big, but the solution is simple. To review, we want to thank the governor and the legislature for adopting the 2022 Environmental Bond Act and ask them to include lead so that our homes are healthy, lead-free, and climate ready. Thank you.
In New York City, students whom are Black, Brown, disabled, and or low income continue to attend schools that are under-resourced and underfunded. As a result, our students are forced to grapple with the harsh reality that their social-emotional needs will at times go unmet. Our students go to schools all year round with little to no support for their mental health needs. We cannot continue to have an education system that fails to meet the needs of their students, especially of their students who are impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. We need guidance counselors, social workers, and other mental health supports in our schools. This is a crucial part of our education system, and we are saying and advocating for New York to pass the mental health supports in schools to ensure all elementary, middle, and high school students in New York State have a full-time licensed social worker and a full-time licensed psychologist on staff to meet the needs of all students.